Today we have two very distinguished guests on the show. Let's discuss your views, your opinions, your lifestyles as British Asian. Hello, welcome to Chai with Ritu. Welcome to this show. It's a series of shows called Chai with Ritu, where we'll be exploring different issues that have affected British Asians, British Indians in this country particularly. Our parents came here in the 1960s, 1970s, leaving behind very comfortable lives. They brought us here to embrace a Western education and also for jobs for them, a better way of life, but we as children growing up in this country embraced both the British Western ways and also the Eastern traditional ways were very much ingrained in us at home. The series of programs are actually exploring the journey, the past, present and future of British Indians in this country. What we need you to do is get a cup of chai, get yourself a phone and MATV and call us on any issues that you want to debate or discuss or your views on the show today. The number is 0871 990 3399. Call us after 10 minutes into the show and we really want to hear your views on what we have to say. Today's show we will be discussing is the future of our elderly. Their future, what is it? They've been in this country since 1960s, 1970s, and statistics show that in the next 5 years the elderly over 65 is going to treble. Where are they going to be housed? What is the future for them? And is the saying true that living with an elderly person in the house brings richness and warmth into the house? Or does it cause contentious issues and hostility and stressfulness for the rest of the family? It's your views that count, so call us on 0871 990 3399. I have two guests today, as in all my shows, and today's guests are Avnish Goyal, welcome to the show, and Paresh Gandhi. Avnish Goyal is the chairperson, is that right? Managing Director of Hallmark Healthcare. They are pioneers in nursing and care homes throughout the country and have won, Avnish's company and himself and his two brothers with him have won the Newcomer of the Year Award for the Asian Business Awards 2006. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And also I believe you were voted as being ranked 51st company in the Sunday Times Best Companies to Work For in 2006. So another great accolade for you. Well, welcome to the show. And Paresh Gandhi is here as a trustee from Age Concern in Harrow. He plays a very active part in assisting the Age Concern charity, which is there to help people, help elderly people with problems, and maybe you would find something of very usefulness of what he has to say as far as the elderly in all throughout the country are concerned.
That's right.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, if we start with you, Avnish, you have been running Hallmark Healthcare since 1997, is that right?
That's right.
And how have you found the trends as far as being in the healthcare business, running care homes? How have you found, has there been a trend towards more Indians actually coming into care homes, or is that still something that they shy away from and it's not something that they embark on very quickly, you know, going to nursing or care homes?
I think it's slowly increasing. I think there's still a reluctance to put our elders in care homes, but I think it is increasing. I think it will continue to increase over time.
Right. And in any particular areas or generally over the country?
Well, I think obviously you can have the concentrations where we have the Indians, you know, obviously in southeast Essex, Walsall, and the areas of the high concentration, Southall, Harrow, those kind of areas are obviously going to have larger demand. But I think generally you are going to start seeing more demand as time goes on, obviously as the elderly population continue to increase over the next 5 or 10 years.
What about the actual owners? There's more and more Indian owners of care homes. Do you find that that's the case?
Yeah, I mean absolutely. It's the in thing now to own a care home. It's the latest, and everybody wants to be owning a care home. So we've got a lot of competition when we're out there acquiring care homes.
But the legislation is quite stringent, isn't it, on how to run it and the Care Act itself?
Yeah, that's the challenge, because I think people go into it with rose-tinted glasses. They see it as almost like an investment business, but it's not. It's very hands-on and very intensive, and it's ultimately it's about how you deliver care. It's not an investment property where you just sit back and watch the money come in. And I think people do get a bit of a shock when they acquire a home, because they see a friend or a relative having done it and think, well, let me give it a go. And I think I know a few stories, horror stories, where it's gone a bit wrong.
The Act came in 2000, wasn't it, the Care Home Act, which made it much more stringent. Before then, I think anyone could have owned it and run it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it over the years, that it's got more stringent as time's gone on. I think it's right, because it's unfortunately the few that give the industry a bad name. And I think the Care Standards Act, we welcomed it with open arms, because it just raised standards throughout the whole industry.
Oh, good. And what about the staff? Do you find that your staff are Indian because, doctors or nurses or whatever, or do you find that again, it's not something that they are involved in very much?
Well, we're seeing more and more staff that are Indian because of over the last few years, when there's been a shortage of nurses, which isn't quite the case now. There was an influx of Indian nurses coming over and senior carers coming over. That's kind of been curtailed now,
right.
With the Home Office having changed the rules again. But so we've got quite a number of Indian nurses and senior carers in our homes.
Do you find that the care homes are gearing towards the elderly, because there'll be food differences? I mean, some of them are vegetarian or won't eat certain things, or language barriers. Are they gearing towards this, or not yet? Do you think it's still in its infancy to actually think that the Indian people will put their elderly into care homes?
Yeah, I think obviously where you've got a predominantly white client group, not speaking generally, there can be that sense of loss of communication. But in most of our care homes now, because we've got Indian nurses and senior carers, it isn't quite so bad. But food-wise, we can cater for. But what we found generally is that Indian families very much, they don't just put their loved one in the care home and forget about them. Generally, we find that the level of attention to that resident, to that person is very high. They'll visit every day, they'll bring food in every day, different members of family will visit every day.
So there is very much a support system there.
Oh, totally, yeah. We see it far higher than probably their English counterparts.
And what is the difference between local authority care homes and privately run like yours? I mean, for the general public who don't have much to do with care homes, what would you say is the difference?
Well, I mean, generally, local authority homes in the main are usually a lot older. They're built in the 60s and 70s. A lot of them don't comply with the new Care Standards Act, so they may only have smaller rooms, no ensuite facilities, a lot less day space and so on.
Right.
Whereas obviously, more modern purpose-built homes have much larger rooms, ensuite facilities, and again, it depends on the different local authorities and independent care homes.
So you're providing really a service as opposed to a business in itself, isn't it? It's a service to the community.
Totally. I mean, we've always focused in our business on providing the care, and
which is paramount.
Yeah, if you focus on that, the rest of the business will take care of itself.
Good. Well, don't forget to call the number 0871 990 3399 if you have any questions for Avnish Goyal throughout the show. The phone lines are being manned, and please do call in so we have your views and your opinions on this subject. Now, if I can bring in Paresh Gandhi into this conversation, you are a trustee of Age Concern. Just tell me, what kind of work do Age Concern actually do?
Age Concern is a national charity which looks after the general well-being of elderly people in this country and assists them with...
How long has the charity been going, sorry?
Well, the specific one that I'm involved in is the Age Concern Harrow branch, which has been set up since 1975.
Right.
And it focuses on the particular needs of the area in Harrow.
And what are the particular needs in Harrow, different to any other borough or area?
Sure. The difference in Harrow is that we've got a high ethnic minority concentration of the population that lives there, and we have to cater for needs such as education and language barriers, and the need to I think language is the biggest problem, because to have access to any information, language is the biggest problem, and we try and focus and get people who can assist in the interpretation and point you in the right direction in your own language.
So what kind of service is particular, such as language? So how would that differ to any other borough? You have people working at Age Concern who actually can speak the Indian languages?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Which predominantly Gujarati with it in
well,
Harrow.
well, in Harrow, yes, but we've got a variety of languages that are spoken all over the country, depending on which it focuses. For example, if it was Southall, then we'd have Punjabi-speaking volunteers, or if it was a different part, we'll have Polish or whatever language is available.
And are the volunteers actually trained in any way? If any
Yes.
of our viewers wanted to be volunteers for Age Concern,
Yes,
how
yes.
would they go about it?
Yeah, we'd welcome as many volunteers as possible. We require a very stringent CRB check, because some of the work involves going into people's houses, elderly people's housing, helping with, for example, washing up or putting up a picture or whatever. But so as long as they can pass through that and apply these content on the website, you can go on the national website, or you can go on the
And what is
specific.
the website?
It's www.acharrow.org.uk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if anyone wanted to actually assist, that's the way to do it.
That's right, yes.
And in your personal opinion, what do you think is more advantageous? Someone actually being looked after at home by their families, or being in some kind of care environment where they have more support, I suppose, for illnesses or physical, mental disabilities or anything like that?
Right. I think as far as the best approach would be to have that care in the household as far as possible. I appreciate that there would be exceptions, such as if somebody is severely ill and they've got, for example, dementia, or it becomes impossible for the rest of the family to look after them. But being based on our sort of rich and diverse culture of being Asian, we should really try and keep this within the family, because all our parents have given a lot for us.
Yeah.
So this is the time to return something for them.
Avnish, what's your views on that? Do you think the care system is there equipped and more supportive for the elderly? I mean, people can't cope at home, or should they really be looked after at home by their families?
Yeah, I mean, specific for Indians we're talking now.
Yes.
I think there are, and I agree with you, Parish, in terms of that the first protocol always should be to be able to look after our loved ones at home. But I think there are, as I think you've highlighted, that there are times when it's just not possible because of severe dementia or severe disability, and sometimes personal home life circumstances dictate the need for a care environment. I think it's about choosing the right care environment, making sure that you pick the right facility. Then I think that there is a place for care homes within that.
Yeah. Well, I have an email from one of our viewers. We have a website which is www.chaywithritu.com. You can go on the website and actually give us your opinions on any of the shows and emails, and I have one here which says, Dear Ritu, I have been watching your earlier programs with intense interest and found them very interesting and educational. Today's topic, future of our elderly joint system. I must say that in the Western world, our youngsters are trying to follow the Western culture, if only some of them. That is to wish to live independently, away from their parents. If a family is large, I understand that some of the couples may want to separate, but I think in our viewers' view that at least one married couple should live with the old parents to look after them. Our Hindu traditions and culture for looking after old parents in their old age must be paramount, as the parents have done so much for their children, educating them, bringing them up in a decent way, and in return they deserve to be given full attention all the time. Thanks, and this is coming from Mr. Barnott. Thank you very much for that. Do you share those views? Do you think that because your parents have brought you up and now it's payback time almost, that you should now be expected to look after them and be there for them. It's your views that really matter, so do call after the break on 0871 990 3399. Just to pose a question to our two guests here, who do you think actually benefits from that setup where you've got a grandparent, you've got children, and then you've got grandchildren? So grandparent, children, grandchildren. Who do you think actually benefits from that setup, the old traditional Hindu or Indian ways, as our viewer here has written?
Well, I think research suggests that it's the grandparents and the
family. Do you?
I do, in fact. I think it's just about getting the best out of everybody and picking the... I think everybody benefits, the answer to your question. Everybody benefits. It's just each family needs to work in harmony so that we'll all benefit. It's not that anybody, in my view, benefits more than anybody else. Yes. It's all about depending on each other and helping each other out.
I think the Channel 4 did a research on this, and they found that it was actually the daughter-in-law who didn't benefit. She became the carer for both her children and for her in-laws. And whilst you say everyone else benefits, but she's usually the one who takes the brunt and actually ends up looking after and becoming a carer unknowingly. Do you think that is a common view shared by everyone, or is it just Channel 4's research and maybe not that accurate?
I think it probably is very dominant in the Asian, in the Indian community, that the daughter-in-law feels that way. But I think it's for our elderly to think about the fact that their son is now married, and to give that little bit of space and let go of the son, as it were, and try and help each other out, and not let and integrate with the daughter-in-law within the family.
Okay, well, want to hear your views on this subject. Is it really warm and rich to have your elderly living with you, or do you think it's stressful and contentious and it's something that is a thing of the past? Well, call us after the break on 0871 990 3399. We want to hear your views. Or go on our website, which is www.chaywithritu.com. See you after the break. Thank you.
Above all else, Tilda is pure traditional basmati.
हनुमान ज्योतिष मंदिर अंतर्राष्ट्रीय ख्याति प्राप्त पंडित राम प्रकाश जी आजकल इंग्लैंड में हैं। पंडित जी ज्योतिष विद्या और हस्तरेखा में निपुण हैं। वे आपको विवाह, पारिवारिक जीवन, संतान, दाम्पत्य जीवन, प्यार, व्यापार और कई समस्याओं के बारे में सलाह देंगे। ज्यादा जानकारी के लिए संपर्क करें 2 क्लेरमंट रोड, कैप हिल, स्मिथिक, बर्मिंघम B664JZ, ऑपोजिट आजडा। या अपॉइंटमेंट के लिए अभी कॉल कीजिए 0121 558 4470।
SETI Partnership, we are in partnership with our clients.
At the SETI Partnership Solicitors, we can advise on all your legal matters. We're a leading law firm that specialises in giving sound advice on matters that affect your everyday life. Think of a firm of solicitors, think of the SETI Partnership Solicitors. Call us on 028 866 64 64.
The SETI Partnership, we are in partnership with our clients.
खुशियों की तस्वीर मेरा घर, रंग सभी सेहत से भरे, वक्त बदला न बदला रे।
For soft, white chapatis with healthy wholemeal goodness, Elephant Chakki Gold Atta.
ਹੁਸਨ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਓ ਕਰੀਏ ਪੰਜ ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਤੇ ਹੁਸਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ, ਗਿੱਧੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉੱਡਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਡੋਰੀਏ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ, ਭੰਗੜਾ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਗੱਭਰੂਆਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ, ਆਪਣੇ ਸੱਭਿਆਚਾਰ, ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿਰਸੇ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ। ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਰ ਕਰਾਂਗੀ ਹਰ ਸ਼ੁੱਕਰਵਾਰ ਸ਼ਾਮੀ 7 ਵਜੇ।
I went to see how Eastern process their spices. The spices are microbiologically tested and stored in temperature-controlled conditions. Before grinding, spices are cleaned and impurities taken out. Because they are milled in UK, East End spices are pure and have a beautiful aroma. UK ground and packed. Resealable packs keep spices fresh. East End spices, there's nothing better.
Hello, welcome back to Chai with Ritu. Don't forget, see our website, which is www.chaiwithritu.com. And don't forget to call our number on 0871 990 3399. We want to hear your views on the subject of the future of our elderly. Now, some people think it's the way of the future, that the elderly should still be looked after by their children, whether it's their son or their daughter, and this is always the way that a traditional Indian family has really been run. We haven't thought about getting any external help for the family. However, things are changing, and it is our children, now the next generation, who are saying to us, be good to us because we will be choosing which nursing home you go to. So it's a point to remember. While said in jest, it might in fact ring true to some people. I have an email from one of our viewers from last week. It's a Dr. Kusum Paul. She is a GP herself and is also a carer for her elderly mother. She says that she didn't know this before she actually investigated it further, that there is a lot of help that can be given to carers actually looking after their elderly in their own homes. And it is a way that the government wants to see the future. And she says, hi Ritu, service provision and contact numbers vary according to the borough. However, there is a department in every borough called Elderly People Services. Therefore, people aged 65 and over, their families and for their carers as well. There is a grant available to assist with home adaptation. So if you're adapting your home to fit a bathroom or a bedroom downstairs, then you can get a grant, but you have to apply for it prior to you doing any kind of changes to the home, which is useful to know. And it's assessed on a critical need and financial means basis. So if it's a critical need that your elderly does need to live downstairs, ground floor, then that is assessed. As far as council tax is concerned, you can get a reduction if you have an elderly relative living downstairs, reduction on your council tax. It's worth asking your local authority for that. You also get benefits. Various benefits are available. And as an Indian population, we are not very good at challenging or, in fact, even accessing these grants. So it is something to bear in mind if you are in that situation. There's also disability living allowance. That is based on the degree of disability that the elderly is suffering from. There's also an attendance allowance based on care needs. It's not means related. And you could also, the elderly could also be entitled to pension and savings credits. So it is something that the government are actually encouraging to happen, that the elderly is looked after in a family environment with the support system and financial help from the government. So if you haven't accessed that or want to discuss it more, then please call us on 0871 990 3399. The phone lines are now open and are being manned. Going to our guests now. Harish, if I just ask you, the email that I've just read out from our one of our viewers, is that something that Age Concern can help with?
Yeah, oh yes, absolutely. This is the very point of trying to come to us, whereby we will not only be able to advise on these issues, help you make the applications, and also speak to you in your own language. So that will be very, very useful to anybody who wants to take up that service. Not just Age Concern Harrow, but Age Concern generally will assist you in these very issues. And make it beneficial for the carers, as it were, all round to see what they can.
So in an Indian family environment, who would the carer be?
Well, well, traditionally, I think it would come down to the daughter-in-law, but I think it's a degree of care, and in most families, I think it'll have to be on the basis of need. So if it was, for example, to do with taking the elderly person to the hospital, etc., then it might come on to the son to do that, for example. But it really doesn't matter. If everybody gets together in the whole family and shares the tasks of looking
who actually would get the allowance as far as it does one person have to be nominated as the carer?
Yes, one person. It doesn't have to be a nomination as long as there's one person who in the family who would apply. But again, these are disability rules that I'm not 100% sure on.
Okay.
But it would apply that you would get an allowance for this, depending on the level of the severity of the disability or the care needed.
And Mission, with Hallmark Healthcare, do you have anything to do with local authority funding, or is it purely done on a private basis?
Yeah, I mean, probably about 2/3 of our clients, our residents, are local authority funded.
Right.
So we have quite a large number.
And earlier we were discussing as to why there's possibly the elderly shy away from going into care homes, and you did raise the point that possibly fees put them off. Is that a valid point? Care home
Indians?
fees? Yeah.
I think probably not so much that. I think it's really the stigma right now is attached to not looking after your loved ones at home. So I think that's probably more.
You think there is a stigma attached to it?
I think there is, just like there was a stigma attached to divorce 20 years ago, and now it's commonplace. I think we are going to see over the next 15, 20 years that trend where lifestyles are changing with mixed marriages and so on and so forth, where the expectations of the younger generation and, as we talked about earlier, sometimes the lack of flexibility in the family structures are going to see more and more older people looked after in care facilities. But I think the care facilities are going to continue to improve over time. But don't forget also, we are looking at, in terms of care homes, we are looking at the very acute end of the care need spectrum, where people need, when a resident goes in for nursing care, they're usually fairly ill, bedbound, need quite a lot of help. So we're not usually seeing people being referred into care homes now where they're fairly able as it used to be in the past. So we are seeing some fairly acute needs.
So where do they come to you from? Have they been in sheltered homes and sheltered environments before, and then this is like the last step?
I think generally what happens is they're usually at home, and there's some critical incident that occurs, maybe a fall. Sometimes, obviously, don't forget, some of our older Indians live on their own, and you know, there's something that happens. They break a hip, or they fall, or they leave the gas on, or something like that occurs. So there's something occurs where the family then need to look at how can mum or grandmother be looked after in an environment that's safe.
And do they find it difficult to look after grandmother or grandfather themselves in their own?
Again, saved by the bell.
Yeah. Hello, who's calling Chai with Ritu? Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Who's calling?
Yeah, I'm speaking from Manchester.
You're speaking from Manchester? Yes.
Yeah.
And what is your view that you want to share with us?
Yes, I want to share my view because I'm already 62 now. And I'm getting very frightened now that, you know, if I become disabled, that was going to look after me.
So you're 60, 62?
I would be very frightened to go in a nursing home or in a residential home.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Sorry?
Can you just repeat that?
Yeah, well, I said, you know, if I had to go into a residential home, I would be very scared to go.
If you had to find a nursing home, you would do what?
I would be very
You'd be very
to go
scared.
into a nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I think there should be more resources for the Asian community, in the community.
There should be more
Resources, you know,
okay.
More
information in the community.
Yeah, in the community.
Do you live alone?
Yes, I live alone.
Right.
And also, I don't have a family. I don't think my daughter-in-laws will look after me. And I've always lived alone. And, my sons are married. I've got 2 daughter-in-laws.
Yeah.
But then what I think is, to stay at home and to expect the family to look after you.
You don't think it's a way of the future?
You have a good family who will look after you. They
Yeah.
all have their own,
Yeah, I think maybe you should get in touch with the local age concern possibly and find out what's available there, because there is a lot available as far as resources are concerned. It's just a question of accessing them.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to highlight in this program, that, people like yourself, there is a lot available there. You just need to go and find out where it is and the department in your borough.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for calling.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Take care and keep watching.
It's a
If you have any issues, any questions, on this program, please call 0871 990 3399. We will catch you after the break. Thank you.
भागवती केरला ज्योतिष जग मशहूर पंडित तुलसीदास आजकल लेस्टर में है। ज्योतिष विद्या में निपुण पंडित तुलसीदास हस्तरेखा और कुंडली के जरिए आपका भूत, वर्तमान और भविष्य काल बता सकते हैं। साथ में संतान, दाम्पत्य जीवन, कारोबार, शिक्षण, घर शांति, आपके कई निजी और अनसुलझे प्रश्नों और समस्याओं को योग्य मार्गदर्शन देकर सुलझा सकते हैं। पंडित जी हिंदी, तमिल, तेलुगु, मलयालम और कन्नड़ा भाषा में बात कर सकते हैं। ज्यादा जानकारी के लिए संपर्क करें श्री पंडित तुलसीदास, 106 वेमथ स्ट्रीट, सनातन मंदिर के नजदीक, लेस्टर। टेलीफोन 0116 266 2539 और 07944253155।
Wow! Wow!
For sheer beauty, clear quality and real value, there is only one name, Palda Windows. फ्री कोटेशन के लिए अभी फ्री फोन करें 0800 783 7474।
वाओ! प्लैनेट टॉक के साथ इंडिया भर में कहीं भी फोन करें सिर्फ 5 पेंस पर मिनट में। प्रॉम्प्ट के बाद अपना डेस्टिनेशन नंबर मिलाएं और बस आप कनेक्टेड हैं। तो अभी डायल कीजिए 084455000100। कहीं से भी कॉल कीजिए, ऑफिस, मोबाइल, घर या पे फोन। तो अभी डायल कीजिए और बिना किसी रुकावट के बात कीजिए सिर्फ 5 पेंस पर मिनट में। ना कोई अकाउंट, ना क्रेडिट कार्ड और ना ही कोई बिल। ये है प्लैनेट टॉक 084455000100।
The only one who wants to start earning interest the day I pay in a check.
I can't be the only one who wants to start earning interest the day I pay in a check.
Surely, I'm not the only one who wants to start earning interest the day I pay in a check.
I'm not the only one who wants to start earning interest the day I pay in a check, am I?
Don't wait days to earn interest on your money. Lloyds TSB is the first and only bank to pay your interest from the day you pay in a check to the day your money leaves us. Don't wait. Switch to Lloyds TSB.
अजमेरी बाबा आपके मुश्किल हालात में आपके मददगार। अगर आपके घरेलू हालात या फिर इंसानी रिश्ते किसी मुश्किल दौर से गुजर रहे हैं, बच्चों से परेशानी हो रही है, एक अच्छे जीवन साथी की तलाश है, अजमेरी बाबा जी एक लंबे अरसे से सही मशवरे के जरिए लोगों की खिदमत करते आ रहे हैं। आज ही फोन कीजिए अजमेरी बाबा जी को ऑन 0777 913 7810 पर।
Hi, my name's Balbir Nandra and I'm here to discuss about your health on a brand new program called Your Health on MATV.
ਹੁਸਨ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਓ ਕਰੀਏ 5 ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਤੇ ਹੁਸਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ। ਗਿੱਧੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉੱਡਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਡੋਰੀਏ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ। ਭੰਗੜਾ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਗੱਭਰੂਆਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ। ਆਪਣੇ ਸੱਭਿਆਚਾਰ, ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿਰਸੇ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ। मैं तुहाडा इंतजार करांगी हर शुक्रवार शामी 7 बजे।
Hi, welcome back to Chai with Ritu. I hope you're enjoying your cup of tea. And don't forget to get your phone, ring us on 0871 990 3399. Also, you can log on the website www.chaywithritu.com. We are discussing the elderly, and we have our next caller. Hello, who's calling Chai with Ritu? Hello?
Hello, I'm Patel ringing from Manchester.
Mrs. Patel ringing from Manchester. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
What would you like to share with us?
I just want to talk about something that was discussed earlier regarding looking after parents.
Okay.
And how there is some reluctance in
There's some reluctance,
caring for the parents. I think I hope all those younger generation and middle-aged generations will take note that these are people who do need the care and understanding, and it is important to make their life as well of give them quality care, take them to different places and make sure that they are just as happy as you are.
Yes. Are you living with your family? Are you living with your?
No, I'm not living with my family, but I have worked for Age Concern.
And you think it's very important for the family to live together and stay together? Is that the point you're making?
Not exactly live together. I mean, whether it's living together or the parents are living separately, it's important to keep an eye on them and make them feel that they're just as important, because they've given a lot to you as well.
Exactly, yeah.
So it is very important that they don't feel left out.
Yeah, and by saying keep an eye on them, what do you mean? Visiting
that,
them?
They do go out, and if they're not well, to make sure that they are given, food and fresh food and.
But would you say that there are any members of the Indian community who are neglected by their?
I think so. I think I talk to a lot of old people, and they do express that once you get old, nobody really wants to know. Your children start living their own lives, and there is no understanding for older generations.
Okay, thank you very much for your point of view. That was really well put. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there we have a caller who says that you should look after your elderly, because after all they are the ones who've given you so much and put so much into you, and now it's their turn to be looked after. They don't want to be neglected, and there is a general loneliness that's coming through from the elderly, that their needs are neglected by the next generation. How true do you think that is? Please call us on 0871 990 3399 to express your viewpoint. Hello, who's calling Chai with Ritu?
Hi.
Hello.
Right. Basically, I want to ask you regarding disability living allowance.
Okay. We can't answer any specific questions, but yes, as a general question, we can answer it.
General question.
Okay. What's your query?
Well, I want to find out whether.
Are you living with an elderly parent?
About disability living allowance. Actually, I'm getting disability allowance for my daughter.
You're getting a disability allowance for your daughter, okay?
Yeah, and it's a higher rate.
Uh-huh.
And recently I lost my wife as well.
Sorry to hear that.
And well, I suppose I'm on income support as well, but I'm getting about 10, 15 pounds a week for income support.
Have you contacted your local authority?
Sorry?
What area do you live in?
Barnet.
Barnet. Have you contacted Barnet Local Authority?
Yes.
They would probably be the people to answer your query and give you specific advice and instructions on how you can claim more if you're entitled to more. But also, please go onto the Age Concern website. Maybe they can also be of assistance to you. But more than that, we can't actually answer any specific query you might have on how much more disability you're entitled to, but you certainly are entitled to something. And that's the portal call that you should be searching. Okay? Thank you very much for calling. Thank you. Okay, so that was a question on allowances, but we were going to go back to a previous point I think you were going to make.
Yeah, I was the first caller actually, in terms of the 62-year-old called earlier. I mean, just to put it into perspective, in our nursing homes, the average age of our residents is 85. So the nursing home isn't the first port of call. It's where needs of our resident once they come into a home has become very difficult at home. And don't forget also where you've got both the children working, so the son and daughter-in-law are both working, and sometimes in high-pressure jobs. You know, there comes a time when the mother or the grandmother is just not getting the level of care and attention that he or she needs, and there comes a time when, especially when the frailty comes in and they need constant nursing attention, that a care facility may be the appropriate facility. And what we found, as I said, I think at the beginning of our conversations, is that the Indian families really do, as the first caller was saying, pay and keep an eye on their residents. They come in regularly, they make sure that they're getting, they bring in food from home, and there's constant attention and love given. And during the day, they can obviously get that attention that they need in terms of their nursing needs are met, and so on and so forth. So there are, I mean, I think it's, there's not one size that fits all. I think the care home is one part of the spectrum of care facilities that are available, and it won't be right for everybody.
Yeah. So who would actually fund for the elderly to be looked after in your nursing home? Who would do that? Or would it come, and the point I'm trying to make is that there was a scheme whereby the elderly could make a will, but they could sell their houses earlier and use that investment to be looked after. Is that a scheme that you're aware of?
I mean, there are certain, obviously, avoidance rules around giving assets to family.
No, but what I mean is that for an elderly person, maybe if they are on their own, don't have anyone to look after them, so what they do is they actually sell their home and use the proceeds to be cared for. And we do, I know in our practice, have quite a lot of people who actually want to make wills to that, for that purpose, that you know, they're not leaving at the end of their lives to anyone else, but they're actually utilising their proceeds in their lifetime for their own care. Is that something you've come across?
Yeah, obviously the care fees are means tested, and when you've got savings or assets over a certain amount, I think it's 20 odd thousand, then you have to fund the whole of your care fees yourself.
Right.
Apart from there's a nursing contribution now, and depending on which banding that you're in, and depending on the severity of your illness, I think it ranges from £80 to about £130. So there is a contribution that the government will pay, and the rest has to be funded by your own means. When it drops, your savings drop below a certain figure, I think it's just around 20,000, you then have the whole of your fees paid by the local authority.
All right, okay. And in your view, is it, you're saying family members are always coming to check on them, but I'm sure that's the case with whether they're Indian or not Indian.
Obviously, you know, the majority of our residents are English or Welsh residents, and we see a spectrum of care that comes in from the families, from real neglect, unfortunately, where people don't come and visit their loved ones.
I'm sure that's the case in all families somewhere along the line. But we'll carry on this conversation after the break. Please don't forget to ring 0871 990 3399. We want to hear your views on the subject of the future of our elderly. If you are an elderly person, or you are someone who's actually looking after someone who is elderly, please call us. We want to hear your experiences, especially if you are British Indian elderly. This program is really designed for you. We'll see you after the break. Thank you.
भागवती केरला ज्योतिष जग मशहूर पंडित तुलसीदास आजकल लेस्टर में है। ज्योतिष विद्या में निपुण पंडित तुलसीदास हस्तरेखा और कुंडली के जरिए आपका भूत, वर्तमान और भविष्य काल बता सकते हैं। साथ में संतान, दाम्पत्य जीवन, कारोबार, शिक्षण, घर शांति, आपके कई निजी और अनसुलझे प्रश्नों और समस्याओं को योग्य मार्गदर्शन देकर सुलझा सकते हैं। पंडित जी हिंदी, तमिल, तेलुगु, मलयालम और कन्नड़ा भाषा में बात कर सकते हैं। ज्यादा जानकारी के लिए संपर्क करें श्री पंडित तुलसीदास, 106 वेमथ स्ट्रीट, सनातन मंदिर के नजदीक, लेस्टर। टेलीफोन 0116 079442539 or 07944253155.
Looks like you found something really special. And at a special price. Tilda Pure Basmati, now available in a special bag at a special price.
हनुमान ज्योतिष मंदिर अंतर्राष्ट्रीय ख्याति प्राप्त पंडित राम प्रकाश जी आजकल इंग्लैंड में हैं। पंडित जी ज्योतिष विद्या और हस्तरेखा में निपुण हैं। वे आपको विवाह, पारिवारिक जीवन, संतान, दाम्पत्य जीवन, प्यार, व्यापार और कई समस्याओं के बारे में सलाह देंगे। ज्यादा जानकारी के लिए संपर्क करें 2 क्लेरमंट रोड, कैप हिल, स्मेथिक, बर्मिंघम B664JZ, ऑपोजिट आजडा, या अपॉइंटमेंट के लिए अभी कॉल कीजिए 0121 558 4470।
Sometimes it's not our fault. We're involved in road accidents or accidents at work. People do not care about others. Medical procedures don't go as planned, or we may slip, trip or fall. But Diamond is always there to help. We assure compensation for your lost earnings, medical expenses and more. Call our 24-hour helpline at 0800 0328 777 for support. Diamond Accident Group.
Have you been injured in an accident or suffered as a result of medical negligence? At the Sethi Partnership Solicitors, we can advise on a no-win, no-fee basis. Think of a firm of solicitors, think of the Sethi Partnership Solicitors. Call us on 0208 866 64 64.
The SETI Partnership, we are in partnership with our clients.
Hello, I'm Kuldeep Vora, and I'm going to take you through a journey of very interesting mouth-watering dishes in Cook with Kuldeep. You know, we are all busy, but we want good food, and there is no need to sacrifice taste or flavor. This is the show where you can also participate. If you send me a recipe and we include it in the show, you'll get an excellent food hamper. Don't forget to watch this cookery show only on MATV.
A cooking competition. Fried onions of Nishan, first choice of modern housewife. Minced garlic. Minced ginger. Chef cutting onions laboriously. Chopped tomatoes, and the modern housewife adds spices of Nishan. The poor chef is still cutting onions while the curry is ready. Cook a tasty and fast curry with Nishan. Nishan. Fried onions, minced garlic and ginger by East End. The true taste of the East.
Hello, welcome to Chai with Ritu. I hope you're enjoying your chai and you've got your phone handy and your MATV, your favourite channel, and you are calling us on 0871 990 3399. We are talking about the future of the elderly, but the question was who actually benefits from a joint family system? Is it the grandparents, the grandchildren, or in fact the children themselves? And one of our viewers has sent in a poem on this subject, which is Grandparents and Children. The poem says, grandparents and grandchildren, together they create a chain of love, linking the past with the future. The chain may lengthen, but it will never part, which is quite accurate, don't you think? Your comments on that poem? Is it something that grandparents and grandchildren have an affinity towards each other and it's something that we should see more of? Or, as the statistics say, that there's less and less families now, three generations of a family living under one roof now, and statistically that's going to drop even more and more as we grow older. What's your views on that?
I think the fact that 3 generations live together, I think that's rapidly in decline. I can understand that, probably due to the structure of the housing and all the rest of it. You can't have too many people living together.
So space might be a consideration as well. I mean,
well, yes, space would be a consideration, but that doesn't mean that you've got to then try and get rid of your elderly. That they shouldn't be the first people out. If there is, let's say, an elderly couple with 3 sons or daughters or whatever, and they shouldn't feel obliged, or one of them shouldn't be obliged to stay with the daughter or the son, they should try and share this responsibility.
Well, I know where we've had viewers who've said that that has happened, where there's several children, so they spend a bit of time with each child. And I remember one of them commenting, or one of the comments made was that their mother, the father had passed away, so there's only a mother left, and she was spending time with different family members. And she said, well, how would you like to change your pillow every 6 months?
Well, I think it's more of a, it should be considered more of a break, or more of a holiday, especially if the children live in different geographical parts of the country.
Yeah.
Just to see it in a more positive light.
Okay. Hello, who's calling Chai with Ritu?
Hello.
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 Hello. Yes, you're on Chai with Ritu. How can I help you?
Okay.
Your name, please.
My name is Uma.
Okay. Welcome to the show. And what would you like to share with us?
I like to share, I am an elderly person,
Yes, you're an elderly.
And I am 67. I have no family to look after.
Okay.
And you are discussing about this, the age concern.
Yes.
So what advice you would give?
So you're 67 and
Yeah.
you
And
have
of course I walk about, I do everything.
you have no family support
Yeah.
as such. So you're living on your own, are you?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. And what is it that you need assistance with?
Sometimes some social worker or somebody come and visit me. I have asked the local authority. They say, oh, these days we have any issues.
So you've asked the local authority, and what have they said?
Oh, they say no social worker can come.
Okay. Is that because you're independent physically and?
I am quite independent.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of assistance do you need then, if you are?
Sometime I was very ill, so I wanted somebody to go to the shop and bring some shopping.
Well, is that something that Age Concern can help with?
Pardon?
Yes. I think this is a very important part, that it's this lady needs to go and approach the local office, whereby
local office of
Age Concern.
Age Concern. Did you get that?
And they can assist with your shopping if you need to, or if you're fortunate enough to be mobile. You can have discussions, and you can think about any local activities in the area which would be suitable to you and your particular background. Again, information like that is available from Age Concern. It's just tapping into this resource. Don't be afraid to ask the local office, and if they don't know, they'll ask.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I am.
You're hearing
Can I
that?
put the phone down?
Yes, you can put the phone down, and we'll summarize if you are watching. What Paresh Gandhi has to say from Age Concern is that you should approach their office, and they would be able to help you. And there are volunteers who work there who would be able to take you shopping if you're immobile. Okay, so that is the point that needed to be made.
Absolutely. So don't be afraid to ask. If Age Concern can't help you directly, they will find somebody who can.
They will. Well done. Okay, and just to ask you $1 million question, when you are elderly and you are in your 80s, where would you want to be looked after? Would you want to go into a care home, Paresh?
Right. Well, it's a very interesting question. I mean, I would like to remain in my house as far as I can.
Would your children be happy to look after you?
Well, that only time will tell.
Yes.
But the point being that let's not run away with this idea that just because you're elderly, you're completely dependent. Most people, well, quite a few people, especially for my father. My father's nearly 80 years old.
Right.
And he's completely independent, so he's not a burden at all. So let's not run away with that idea.
And he can only add value to the home.
Well, absolutely. So I would like to remain in my home with or without my children, but as long as it's my own family, my own home. That's what I would like to do.
That's more important to you. And what if God forbid, you become very old and are unable to look after yourself physically? Then what's the answer?
Well, as a last resort, I would consider going into some form of care. Or if I'm senile or something, then I probably won't have that choice. But
someone put you in it.
Well, somebody put me in it, yes. But ideally, I would like to have that choice to just remain in my home and be as mobile as possible and avoid being a burden.
And your views, Avnish? pioneer of care homes. What's the future for you then?
Well, I think obviously models of care are going to continue to improve and change over the coming years. I think we're going to see a lot more of the care village schemes becoming much more prevalent as they are in the US. So personally, I see when I hit my 80s and 90s that it'd be probably a care village type scheme that I would be wanting to move into, where I could stay in my own home and then be able to have the spectrum of care brought in as my needs dictated over a period of time, still having my own front door, but being within a gated community that the care could be brought in with some amazing facilities as well.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much for coming on the show, Paresh and Avnish.
It was great.
Really enjoyed having your views here and sharing them with our viewers. It's not often that we can debate the subject of the future of the elderly. There isn't really any other forum or any other program that debates such issues and brings them out to the forefront. So it's good to hear what you have to say, being in the environment, and also hearing from our viewers and also people who've gone onto the website, which is www.chaywithritu.com. Please go on the website again and again, because every week we are discussing issues that actually affect British Indians and the journey here in this country. Next week's subject is a very controversial subject. We are going to be discussing the stop and search rules which are in this country, also discussing the role of the police. Are they actually instrumental in taking things forward as far as the Indians are concerned, or do they still confuse the whole Asian population as being one and the same and not really differentiating? So that's what next week's program is going to be on, and we want to hear your views. If you've had any experiences with the police, maybe good experiences or possibly detrimental to you, we want to hear from you, because it is important that you share your views with other viewers and we really debate this subject fully. And also my guest will be Sailesh Mehta, he's the president of the Solicitors Society of Asian Lawyers and a practicing barrister. So he will be here to discuss your views next week on Chai with Ritu. Until then, take care and keep enjoying the hot tea. Thank you.